Okay, everyone. So I believe I'm audible and visible to all of you, right? Yeah. So I think you can ping me in a chat. So those who have joined through a Zoom inside a class, yeah, so that we can start, our discussions. Okay, so let's start with the discussion, guys. So till yesterday, we have discussed about a question. So till 80th number, right? I believe. Yes, everyone. Yeah. So if I can get yes or no. Okay. So technically, we have discussed all of this question till 80th number. And anyone guys who have prepared the answer, I have received a couple of answers. So from Asit sir, right? So I have received this 200 answers basically for all 200 questions that I have given to all of you. But just a feedback, this is not a good pattern in terms of preparing this answer because it was a completely like a monotonous answer that I'm able to see. Everywhere same pattern has been followed for every kind of a question. Similar kind of answer has been given. Plus example is missing, analogy is missing. So many things are missing by the way. And if someone is going to read out this answer, so it's not pretty much clear. Plus this answer is not. Anyone who is a beginner, so I don't think that anyone will be able to understand this particular answer. So just advice, try to look into this pattern. Don't follow this pattern. So maybe you can try to ask GPT or maybe any kind of AI system that try to give me an answer which can be understood by beginner, and then try to include all the technologies and wherever required. So try to include architecture discussion as well. So maybe in that way it is going to give you a better answer. This pattern is not at all good. Just my feedback. Yeah. So maybe you can, use a different prompt. Asit, for you, that's a feedback. Yeah. सर जीपी चैट जीपीटी को प्रॉम्प्ट को बेटर बनाना पड़ेगा विद द एग्जांपल डिज़ाइन यस या सो यू हैव टू मेक योर लाइक अ प्रॉम्प्ट बेटर दैट्स ओनली सॉल्यूशन बिकॉज ये आंसर जब हम देख रहे थे ना तो काफ़ी मोनोटोनस है मतलब हर क्वेश्चन का एक पैटर्न में आंसर दिया गया है प्लस इफ़ यू विल रीड आउट द आंसर so it's not like something which anyone can understand. I have received couple of more answers. I'll just try to share with all of you in a group. हम लोग का WhatsApp group जो है उसमें हम शेयर कर देंगे. So मेरे पास दो तीन और है. But for not for 200 basically. Asit is the first person who have prepared this entire answer for 200 questions. But there are other people so who have prepared maybe a 40, maybe a 50, maybe a 60. They have not prepared it completely, so I have not shared with any one of you. But yeah, so just try to do it. Yeah, try to do it. So fine guys, let's start discussing my answers. So I'll start from 81 number question till 80th number question. I have already discussed each and everything. So let's start with design a scalable generative AI system for a 1 lakh concurrent user. Okay, this is the question, right? Now generative AI system, right? Generative AI system can be like many, right? Maybe I can create 1,000 system, 10,000 system, or millions of different system I can create in a different domain. Yeah. So here what we will do, so we'll try to take an example of one of the system or maybe one of the problem statement with respect to one of the domain, and then we'll try to find out a solution. Then we'll try to design this particular solution. This is how we are going to approach to this particular problem. Even in an interview, if someone is going to ask you that, okay, how you are going to design some system which will be able to, handle 1,000 or 1 lakh or maybe 100K, right? Here we have a 100K number. So 100K user concurrently. So it's not like you should start giving an answer. You should first of all ask a question that what is the application that you are using, or what is the kind of a system that you are using, what is the kind of a problem that you are trying to solve. Because when we talk about this scalable system, right, it's pretty much different with respect to a different business problem. So it's not like a thumb rule that we are going to apply and we are going to use it everywhere. Yeah. PK is saying AWS instance need to be created which can be scalable on the basis of traffic. आई मीन ठीक है, वो तो आप AKS यूज़ कर लो ना, EKS यूज़ कर लो, लाइक आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाता है उससे, वो अपने आप ही स्केल कर देगा. बट अगेन डिपेंड करता है ना बिजनेस यूज़ केस के ऊपर भी, राइट? Okay, explain about a new course launch. Okay, fine. I think my screen is visible to all of you, right? Sorry, I believe my screen was not visible on a Zoom. Okay, okay. So I was basically talking about this. Okay, let me discuss once again. So Asit, this slide I was actually talking about. So where he has already created an answer or solution of this entire 200 questions, and my feedback was very simple. So this is not that great. It's not like a proper. Maybe you have to enhance your prompt, which is generating this entire answer, and maybe you can try to include some like analogy over here. Maybe you can try to include some sort of stories in between the questions and answers, and then a real time example. This is what I was talking about. So, and that's my feedback, by the way. Yeah. And many people have already given me this kind of answers. So I have already given them a feedback. So yeah, but yeah, no one has completed 200 questions. You are the first one who have completed 200 questions. But I believe you will have to rework on this entire things. Sir, can you clear the question? 1 lakh concurrent active user है total और at the moment 1 lakh. अब मान के चलो at a moment 1 lakh user है, 1 lakh hit आ रहा है, ठीक है? Then आप कैसे solution डिजाइन करोगे? So that is a question. Let's suppose, ठीक है? Let's suppose that is a solution that we have to design. So forget about whether we have a 1 lakh user or like a 10 lakh users. So let's talk about basically a problem statement, and let's talk about a domain for which we are going to solve a particular problem. And then with respect to that, let's try to talk about the solution. Fine, everyone? Yeah. So shall we start our discussion, guys? Okay. So here, let's try to understand that. First of all, let's try to imagine that what kind of a domain or what kind of a problem that we are going to solve, and based on that, let's try to talk about the solution. So let's say that here we are going to talk about maybe one of the banking application, right? One of the banking application. So let me share my So here, just to answer to this 81 number question. So let's suppose we are trying to design a banking application. This is a generative AI application. So where user can come into a system, and user can ask any kind of a question, right? User can ask any kind of a question, and the system is supposed to not just give a response, but it is supposed to even act. Act means, so for example, if user is coming to my banking application and they are saying that okay, block my credit card, block my debit card, or what is maybe like a process to get a refund, or maybe to do a deposit, or to maybe encash a check, or maybe to buy some sort of a schemes from the bank, or some other banking product which is available with respect to the bank. So my system is supposed to give a response. That's okay, right? But along with that, it is supposed to call some sort of a tool, some sort of a functions as well. This is the kind of a application that I'm designing now. So here, so if we are trying to design this kind of a solution, this similar kind of a solution over here, so obviously I need a lot of things in one single places. And again, so the entire story is going to start from the user interface. So user can try to interact with my system by a mobile application, maybe by like a web application, or any other interfaces, or maybe APIs which I have exposed to the user. So user will be able to interact. So first of all, I have to talk about the entry point. So entry point for the user for this banking application is going to be entry point. So what is the entry point? So entry point can be a mobile. Entry point can be a web, let's suppose, or maybe through an API. Yeah. So maybe a couple of APIs I have exposed, and some third party services are integrating my API, my banking API. So maybe through some API, so we have exposed our services. Now this is technically my entry point, right? So where user will try to enter. Now once user will try to enter over here, you can just try to think in a way that there is a restaurant, right? There is a restaurant, and there are hungry people, or maybe you are feeling hungry and you are going to a restaurant. So whenever you go to a restaurant, so basically there will be a reception desk, right? A reception desk. So basically you will ask for the booking, or maybe if you have already booked it. So in that case, obviously they will try to check your entry. Yeah, they will try to check your entry. It simply means that you are trying to authorize yourself. So whenever user will come or user will try to hit your system via any of these, so first of all they will try to go through a auth layer. And even before that, right, even before that, so basically when user will come inside your system, so they will try to go through a kind of a system, so where, right, they will try to go through a system, so where system will try to distribute a traffic. It's not like let's suppose I have a multiple server, so system is going to send all, or maybe like this user who is going to visit a restaurant, and if like he's asking about his seat on a reception, so reception people will try to send all the user on one single table. No, what reception people will do? So reception people will try to send a user on a different table. Yeah, different table. So if user will keep on arriving, so obviously user will go and sit on a different table. It's not like everyone will come over here, right? Everyone will come on one table. Similarly, so when there will be a traffic, when there will be a flow, because we are talking about 1 lakh user, right? Concurrent user, let's suppose we are talking about. So here, whenever user will come into your application, they will try to access your application just like a restaurant, right? So where reception is going to assign a different table as per the user, right? As user will come, as user will flow, right? So similarly, so here what system will do? So system will try to divert the entire traffic. So basically system will try to distribute the entire traffic from one places to other places, so that, right, so that in one system there won't be a full load. So it will be technically distributed across a complete system. Now how that will be done, right? So by using what kind of a approach we are going to achieve this one? So there is something called as API gateway. So API gateway we try to implement over here inside any kind of a system, so that it will be able to distribute. Now API gateway wise, so here I can try to use maybe a Cloudflare, I can try to use, maybe I can try to use a Invo, or I can try to use basically a Kong kind of a services. So which is going to technically distribute my entire services, right? Or entire load, which is going to distribute across a different tables that we have, or maybe a server that we have over here. So we can try to use either of these. So with the help of API gateway, this is something which is possible, and this is something that we are going to achieve, by the way. Now, once this will be done, once we are able to distribute the entire traffic, then what we are going to do? So then we have to, because user will come over here, I have distributed user across a different traffic or across a different server with the help of API gateway interface. Now user will start asking a question, right? User will start asking some sort of a question. So obviously, if user will start asking some sort of a question via this mobile app, or maybe web application, or maybe through a chat widget or anything, right? Through a API, if user is trying to hit. So what I will do? So maybe I will try to use a orchestration layer. So I'll try to place orchestration layer over here. Orchestrator layer over here. Now, what this orchestrator layer will try to do? So orchestrator layer will try to basically a request, or send basically a request based on the user query. So let's suppose if user is asking a question about maybe let's suppose about some sort of a personal loan, or maybe a home loan. Maybe if user is asking some sort of a question with respect to their account. Maybe if user is asking some sort of a question with respect to maybe a check cancellation or some other services, because banks used to sell hundreds and thousands of different services. So obviously, it's not like there will be only one function which is going to respond back, or there will be only one API which is going to respond back. There will be thousands of APIs, a different API, by the way, right? So I have to basically place a system which will be able to understand the user question in a very first place, right? In a very first place, And then once it will be able to understand those questions, so it is supposed to call the respective APIs. Simple, yeah. So here what I will do, so I'll try to place maybe my agents, yeah. I will try to place my multi-agent over here. So here we are going to place, let's suppose, my agent number 1, we are going to place my agent number 2, we are going to place my agent number 3. Again into a scalable mode on a different server, so all these agents are available. Now the very first layer of agent, what this agent is going to perform. So this agent is going to categorize the entire query. So whatever query user is going to ask, so these agents are going to categorize the entire query. That okay, so this query belongs to this particular department or this particular things. If this is a query, then I'm supposed to call this tool or that tool. As simple as that. So let's suppose agent will be having a tool access. I think we have already discussed about it in live classes that agent can have a tool access. Tool access means function access. So we can create an agent with a function access, with the tool access, or even without it. It's not mandatory, right? But yeah, there is a possibility that I can try to create an agent with respect to the tool access. So let's suppose if user is asking that I'm looking for my bank balance. So okay, agent will be able to understand the questions because agent will come with the power of LLMs. And obviously LLMs can understand all of these NLP things in the easiest possible manner, right? Even in other language, if user is going to ask a question, agent will be able to understand that. Basically, this layer will try to behave like an orchestrator. So it will try to understand that, okay, which one to call and when to call depends, right? Depends. Okay. So here agent is going to basically understand the questions. Let's suppose if user is asking about some sort of a policy, right? They have taken some product, they are looking for a refund of that product. So they will try to ask that, okay, fine. So what is the criteria or what is the rule for that particular refund, right? And if user is eligible for that particular refund, then system should be able to initiate a refund, call a refund automatically, right? Call a refund automatically if it is related to a particular banking product. If user is eligible for the transaction should happen automatically while talking to the particular agent. So the only thing is that how good my agents are in terms of understanding a user question context basically, and how good my agents are in terms of calling a particular tool or particular function, and everything is going to happen with respect to this orchestration layer. So here we are going to take a decision. So agent will be having an access of APIs as well. Function and API is fine, same thing, right? Basically, if my function is sitting somewhere else in some different like a technology stack, so obviously I can expose it as an API and I can give an access of an API to my agents, and then agent will be able to make a decision automatically. So this is what is going to happen. So here agent will be having API access, or maybe you can say tool access, tool or function access, yeah, tool access. So all of these agents will be having all of this access, and this decision making is going to happen on an orchestration layer. Now, once this decision making is going to happen, once this decision making will be done, now accordingly it is going to call, right? Accordingly it is going to call maybe a function, as I said, maybe an API, as I said, or maybe let's suppose if user is asking about policies, right? Policies, refund policies, let's suppose, or maybe about some of the new banking product, maybe some of the insurance product that bank has launched recently, maybe some of the loan product that bank has launched recently. So user will be like a user would like to understand that particular product. So if user would like to understand that particular product, so obviously I have to perform RAG over there. Yeah, RAG, because without RAG, it's technically not possible, right? Because LLM will not be having any kind of idea with respect to the new banking product. So obviously I have to do a document search over there. Means I have to go after the retrieval first so that I will be able to get the answer. So in majority of cases, this is what we are going to perform. So here, let's suppose after orchestration, so maybe I can go ahead with the API or tool calling, or maybe I can go ahead with the retrieval. So for example, majority of queries will go for the retrieval basically, because they will try to ask some sort of a question with respect to a particular banking product. So let's suppose I'm going ahead with retrieval, RETRIEVAL, retrieval. Yeah, retrieval means document search basically. Yeah, okay. So here, if I'm talking about a retrieval or a document search, so obviously my retrieval or document search, as we all know, will go through a vector DB. Vector DB can be what? Quadrant, QDRANT, quadrant, or maybe it can be a pine cone, It can be maybe a ChromaDB, it can maybe a Facebook as similarity search, it can be a Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch, yeah. So we'll go for the retrieval. If we are not going ahead with the retrieval, maybe we'll go ahead with the tool calling. Yeah. So here agent will be able to make an automatic decision that, okay, I should go ahead with the retrieval or I should go ahead with basically a tool calling. Okay. So this is done. Now, majority of time, what happens is that many user will end up asking the same question again and again and again. For example, if I'll talk about the example of this restaurant itself. So generally user will come and they will keep on asking for, let's suppose, a paneer pakoda, right? Paneer pakoda. So, or maybe they will ask for like a same kind of many user is asking for a same recipe again and again and again and again, right? Again and again. So it's not like chef will start preparing everything, right, from the very scratch, all the masalas and all those ingredients which is required to prepare that particular recipe. He will start preparing it. What he will do, he will try to prepare it in a mass, and then he will maybe try to stock it in a fridge, yeah, in a fridge basically based on the estimation. So similarly, so here what we try to do, so if user is asking a similar kind of a question again and again and again, right? So let's suppose what is a what is a procedure to like a block a credit card, right? What is a procedure maybe to check the balance, or maybe to get a checkbook, or maybe in cash a check. So if user is asking this kind of a question again and again and again, so what we try to do, so we try to implement a catching again. So this catching is going to save almost 20 to 25% of your resources. And again, there are different kind of a catching. There is a question on catching. I think next question is on catching, and I will be talking more about that catching part, that what and all different kind of a catching that we can try to implement on client side, server side, or even on a transformer side. I'll be talking about that. But yeah, so retrieval. So after during a retrieval, so maybe user is asking the same question repeatedly again and again and again. So it's not like I will go and I will start hitting my vector databases which is available over here. No. So maybe I can try to check with the catch first. Right? I'll try to check with the catching first, that whether this data set or reference of this data is available inside my catching system or not. So catching is one of the very important one, right? Catching. Now, how we can try to implement a catching? So we can try to implement a catching with a content delivery network, CDN. CDN is one of the way. Now, with the help of Redis, we try to implement it. So basically, it's a in-memory databases, or with respect to the memcard, we can try to implement memcached. With the help of memcached, so we try to implement a catching basically. So catching means just store a frequently like asked question and its answer, or maybe its references. Just try to store it so that I don't have to go and do the retrieval again and again and again. And in this way, believe me, many like a 10 to 20% or 25%, you can say, resources can be saved, and you can make your system faster. We always, any system, right? Any system that we try to build in this entire world, we do implement a catching. So even we are using it. So we are using basically a Redis and we are using a CDN. So these two things we are using it even in a Euron side. Now, so once catching is done, that's okay. So that I know I will be able to make my system a bit faster, because I have to serve maybe 100K user at a time. Then what, right? Then what? So obviously, if catching is fine, catching has been implemented, I have to even implement a safety over here, right? I have to even implement a safety. I have to even implement the moderation. So here I can try to add one more layer. So one more layer with respect to the system. Safety. So again, safety, when we talk about safety, and especially when we talk about safety with respect to AI, so it's not just about a user authentication safety that I'm talking about, right? It's not like your password or your, some user ID and password someone is going to steal. No, it's not just about that safety basically. It's about a lot of guardrail. It's a lot about classifying your entire system in such a way that system should not have an access of any kind of a data. Right, your model or your system should not have any kind of information or access to any kind of a secret data, and it should not be able to expose it. Plus, it should not use any unwanted language or maybe a tone, right? We have to control that particular part as well. So obviously, we try to implement a guardrail. So we try to implement a guardrail on AI. That's one part. So we try to implement basically a guardrails over here. Guardrails AI, you can say. Or we can try to, obviously, OAuth or like a single sign-on, all of these things we try to implement. But here I'm talking about a safety with respect to the AI. So content moderation, you can say, we try to implement. CONTENT, content moderation or tone moderation, we try to implement over here. Now, once this is done, right? Once this is done, so we try to implement what? We try to implement basically a observability. So this system, observability system, is going to help me out in terms of keeping a track of each and everything all the time, 24/7, and raising all the unnecessary flags. So unnecessary flag, or maybe if some event is going to happen which system is not supposed to like a handle, or maybe which we are not supposed to handle from our side, so in that case it is going to raise the flag. So basically, to do this or to implement this observability, we try to implement a Grafana. Grafana is a service, so basically a log kind of a service, you can say. Prometheus, or maybe there is another tool like a kind of a open telemetry we try to implement over there. Then so once this observability will be implemented, right, once this particular part will be implemented, then what we try to do, so we try to basically implement again so we try to implement basically different kind of maybe a tool or maybe a system setup on top of this one. But yeah, in general, you will be able to find out that if I'm trying to design any system which can go for a scale, so these layers will be pretty much important. All the time you will be able to find out this minimum number of a layer. There can be a layer more than this one, that's completely okay, right? That's completely okay. But there will at least this much of layer you will be able to find out. Yeah, one more layer in general you will be able to find out, which is a generic layer, I would say. You can say a data layer or event layer. Now what this event layer or data layer does, so basically it will keep on warehousing all the logs, or you can say it will keep on streaming it. So this we can try to achieve with the help of Kafka. So in most of the system or most of the production grade system, you will be able to see that Kafka kind of a system is already implemented. So maybe a Kafka, maybe you can try to implement a publisher subscriber kind of a PubSub kind of a model. S3 will be there, or maybe a BigQuery kind of a system will be there. So if we are designing any AI system, right, so these layers will come for sure. Now here, so you can say that this retrieval layer that we are trying to set up, and again, so there will be a specific procedure for this one, right? As we have already discussed yesterday, that whenever we are trying to build a RAG kind of a system, so obviously it is going to follow its own procedure. We have already discussed about it multiple times, right? That data will come, we are going to divide those data into a chunks, and then we are going to convert those chunks into embeddings. Then we are going to insert those embeddings into some of the vector databases. So obviously it will be having its own flow, and every layer that I have designed over here, so every layer will be having its own implementation and its own flow. Now when you are going to combine all of this layer one by one, then you can say that now we are able to build a product, right? Now we are able to build a product. And then on every layer there is a possibility of an optimization, right? There is a possibility of an optimization. And then on every layer there is a possibility of a scalability. So then layer by layer we start shipping it, and then we try to check that, okay, how I can try to make my UI interface, for example, a mobile web or API, right? So this one is scalable and secure. Then we try to check how we can try to make this one scalable and secure. Then we try to check how we can try to make this one scalable and secure, right? So then layer by layer, layer by layer, layer by layer, again we try to break it down, right? Again we try to break it down, and then layer by layer we start building a solution. And then once all of once all of these layers are completed, then we say that yes, we are able to build a production grade solution, so which can serve not just 1 lakh user, but even a 1 million or 10 million user on a scale. Then we try to migrate this entire application with the help of some CI/CD pipeline, right? As we all know, I have already talked about this one in a project discussion as well. So then we try to migrate it, and then we try to choose some services for hosting my front end, for hosting my back end, and we just try to deploy it. So generally, with the help of Kubernetes, let's suppose, so we are trying to use maybe a EKS or AKS kind of a solution. So where it will be able to use a Kubernetes pods, and it will be able to deploy, and whenever it requires more resources, so obviously it will go for the scale automatically, right? It will go for the scale automatically. Now, especially if I'm talking about this agentic AI kind of a system, so retrieval is one of the system. Most of the time nowadays, you will be able to find out that along with the retrieval, right? Along with the retriever, so people try to integrate a custom AI model as well, or you can say custom AI LLM. So even this comes in between. Technically, it's nothing but it's basically a fine-tuned model I'm talking about. And generally, people go ahead with a multi-model ecosystem, right? So fine-tune, you can say model number 1, fine-tune model number 2, and fine-tune model number 3. So this will be combined together in generally, right? So this is called as hybrid approach. So where retriever will be there, and plus custom AI LLM models will be there, which has been trained on their data set itself, their specific data set itself. And retriever, so retriever is going to answer based on the current data set. So these two layers in general, you will be able to find out. So is it fine, guys? So whenever we are talking about a scalable solution, what and all layers we are supposed to build, by the way? Yeah. Are we able to get the answer? Yes. Yes, everyone? Yeah. So these layers are pretty much important. Unless and until you are not building these layers, so you can't think about, or you can't even imagine about building something which can go for the scale which will be able to serve even at 100, forget about 100K, even at 10K users. Yeah. So whenever someone is asking you a question, so always try to give an answer in this way, layer by layer manner, that I will be having this, then this, then this, then this, and then again inside this one, I will be having again a design. So basically, I have designed a layer number 1 for each and every like a portions. Now, so for every layer, like I said, again there will be a design. So we are going to break down again each and every layers. So make sure that you are like doing it. Yeah. Now, someone has asked me a question with respect to a new batch. Okay, let me talk about a new batch a little bit, and then I'll be talking about next question, 82 number question. So I have not made an announcement so far. So we have just published a batch. So Generative AI Bootcamp 2.0. It's not different. It's a syllabus wise. If you will see, it's exactly same line by line. I have not made any kind of a changes with respect to a syllabus intentionally, by the way. Yeah, because it's a live class, right? In live classes, obviously, we talk about things in a different context. It's because I'm a human being, right? I'm not a robot. I'm not like a programmed by default who will go and who will try to iterate the same line again and again. I am a human being. I learn a lot of things. I observe a lot of things, and based on my learnings, based on my observation, I take a lectures, right? I deliver a classes, and obviously my context, my story, my analogy will be different in a different class, and that's a beauty of, I believe, a live classes, right? That's a beauty of a live classes, by the way. So this live class is going to start from 1st of November, right? Timing is evening time, because morning time I already have a class. But yeah, so 4 p.m. IST to 7 p.m. IST. Same mode. I believe most of us are already aware about this one. Now, if anyone is interested, so you can just go ahead with this one. If anyone is looking for a revision, or maybe if you have a time, join the class. Very simple. If you have a Euron Plus access, if you don't have Euron Plus access, maybe you can go ahead with the discussion with team, and maybe you can check any kind of offers if they have. right? So maybe they can try to give you some sort of offers with respect to a Euron Plus. Yeah. So that's the announcement. That was a question in the chat, right? So suppose, sir, any company already using some no-code tool like Init, and then how the answer will be different. See, if company is using Init, first of all, let me tell you one thing, right? In a production, right? If I'll talk about a big company or standard size companies, I don't think that anyone using Init in kind of a tool. Believe me, anyone is using Init in kind of a tool. Init in kind of a tool generally been used by a very small companies, or maybe, right, maybe for a very even if there is a big company, but for to solve a very small problem, they must be using a Init in kind of a solution. As of now, in future things may change. I do agree with that part, but as of now it's mostly been adopted by learners, you can say, or individuals, or maybe a very like small processes, not on a very big scale. Believe me, doesn't matter like what you see as a PR in a market, but yeah, that's a reality. It will take some time. It will take some time. So where people will start adopting those things. You must have seen the news, right? So where 95% of the company who have fired on a name of AI, their AI is failing, right? They are not able to make use of it. They are not able to build some sort of a trusted solution which can be used by end user, and which can give them basically a new source of revenue. Yeah. So that's a reality we are going after. So yeah. Did you teach in any batch and intent so that we can have a look of that recording? Not so far, but yeah, next week, Saturday. So I have a class of N10. So last week I have discussed about a Crew AI in my Generative AI certification bootcamp batch. And next week, next Saturday, I have a lecture on N10. So where I'm going to show the practical implementation. Even with respect to Crew AI, we have built a project, and by building a project, we have learned Crew AI. Similar thing, we are going to do it with respect to N10 as well. So where we'll build some small or big kind of a product. Means we'll try to solve the problem basically. Yeah. Ram is saying, can you share the image or notes now which you have explained, sir? Yeah, that will be uploaded inside your dashboard. Yeah. So this I'm going to upload inside the dashboard. Simple. Okay. So now let's go ahead with the next question, and let's see what next question says. How do you implement a caching in generative AI application? So see, caching was one of the layer, right? Caching was one of the layer. So I can try to use CDN like a memcached, or maybe I can try to use a Redis. Let me tell you that what and all like kind of a cache I will be able to build, I will be able to design. Yeah, what kind of a different kind of a caches which we can try to build, or which we can try to design one by one. So here, generally, with respect to, let me write it down over here. Question number 82, right? 82. So here, when we try to implement caching, right? Caching over here. So caching simply means that I will try to store some information which has been like asked by user again and again, so that I don't have to go after the retrieval, or I don't have to go after the maybe inferencing, right? Because if I'm talking about a generative AI application, so either I will go after retrieval, or I will try to go after the inferencing with respect to the LLM model. So just to, and both of this approach are costliest approach, right? So in both the approaches, obviously I will end up using a lot of resources, right? Maybe GPU and CPUs, RAM, and many more things. So a lot of resources. So if I have to save the resources, because if I'm able to save the resources, simply means that I'm reducing a cost, or either I'm reducing a cost, or I'm trying to make my system faster. I'm trying to decrease the latency of the entire system. This is what it means, by the way. So here, keeping that in a mind, what we do, so we try to implement basically a cache, right? We try to implement basically a cache. So here, when we talk about a cache, so here I can talk about a cache, four different kind of a cache, by the way, or implementation wise, four different kind of a cache implementation. So one is basically a request response cache. Request response cache. Now, what is this like a request response cache, by the way? So request response cache, basically I have asked some question, basically I have requested, right? And the system is giving me a response. And if that question I'm trying to ask repeatedly, again and again and again, if I'm trying to give a similar kind of a prompt again and again and again, for example, if everyone is asking about a refund policy, if everyone is asking banking with respect to a banking system, if everyone is asking about insurance policy, a particular insurance scheme, because bank will be having a multiple insurance policies, by the way. If everyone is asking about how to deposit the amount, or maybe how to encash the check, so these questions are technically repetitive questions, and maybe system is getting these questions on a daily basis, more than 1,000 times, right? More than 1,000 times. So what system should do, instead of doing a retrieval, because these information will be available inside a document, right? So retrieve once, use many times, simple, right? Just like a chef. So basically, if same recipe you have to serve to many user, do one thing, prepare once, keep it inside a fridge, and then try to use it. Try to use it. So as and when the user will come, just take out the item from the fridge and serve them, right? Keep on serving them. Simple. So request response cache. Now what we do in this one, so we try to store the questions and the answer. Technically not the question and answer. We try to store the key. They're hashing basically, right? So hashing is nothing but like a kind of a key, you can say, a secrets. Which could be a combination of a user ID and the prompt and the setting and the model version, all sort of things. Depends how we are going to configure it. And based on that, so we try to design this particular cache. So here, right? So here we can try to use basically a in-memory database called as Redis. One of the most popular one you will be able to find out with respect to any application in this entire world, right? In this entire world. So basically it's basically best for like a repeated query. So we can try to summarize it, and we can try to store it, maybe a hash of those information, a key of those information, not the actual information, maybe just a key of those information. We can try to keep it inside a Redis because it's a in memory, right? So it's not like you will be having like a petabyte or zettabyte of memories over here. No. So you will be having a limited, and again, it's a very expensive one. So you will be having a limited memory. So what we do, we don't store the data directly because it could be like a very big. So we try to store the reference of the data over here. And whenever user will ask a same question again and again, I'll instead of doing a search, or maybe instead of doing a basically similarity search technically with respect to a RAG implementation, I'll just pick the data and then give it to the user. Yeah. So this is what happens. So we try to implement with the help of a Redis one. Then there could be a second kind of a cache over here that we can try to implement. So with respect to generative AI system, again, not a generic one, only generative AI system. So maybe I can try to use a embedding cache. Yeah, embedding cache. So with respect to generative AI system, you will be able to find out again an embedding cache. So here again, we try to build a cache, or we try to build basically a key for this particular cache. So where we try to keep a small text chunk embedded model version, so that you will be able to save maybe 80 to 90% of the cost for re-indexing of the data. Yeah, re-indexing of the data, or for a repeated RAG query. So embedding cache is one of the popular cache that we try to implement. Then third kind of a cache, RAG retrieval cache. So this is another kind of a cache that you will be able to find out inside a generative AI field, or with respect to the RAG. So here what we do, so here we try to store the top K document ID for which people have asked a question repeatedly. So this is called as retrieval, RAG retrieval cache. And the fourth kind of a cache that you will be able to find out is called as KV cache. I think I talked about this KV cache even in my studies class, right? So basically it's a LLM attention cache. Yeah, LLM attention cache. So basically at the model server level, so wherever you are trying to do the inferencing of those model, maybe you are doing a inferencing with respect to a VLLM. VLLM is something which I have already discussed, right? VLLM is something which I have already used it to do the a hosting of the model, right? So here we try to use basically a key value kind of a cache on a LLM attention layer. So what it does basically, so here it will always try to reuse the computed attention state across all the queries. So whatever attention that we have already computed, it is just going to reuse it again and again and again. And this is something which has been used on a VLM layer or any layer where we are trying to do a inferencing of the model. So generally these four different kind of a cache you will be able to find out with respect to the generative AI application. Now moving ahead, and let's talk about that what is the best approach for the model versioning. So if someone is going to ask me a question that what is the best approach for a model versioning, I will simply say that first of all, what is the meaning of a versioning, right? Simple as its name suggests. So we are trying to create a new version based on maybe a data, maybe based on the model drift. If model will start drifting, means if model will not start giving the correct result, then I will start creating a better version of it. I'll try to test it and then I'll try to host it. So in this way, I will start creating the different kind of a version. So if my new version is available, so obviously entire query should be redirected to the new version, not to the old version. So here, if anyone is going to ask me a question that what is the best approach of doing a model versioning, I will simply say that I'll go ahead with the ML ops, right? I'll just go ahead with the ML ops. Inside ML ops, there is a tool called as ML flow. For example, right? One of the tool you will be able to find out called as ML flow. Beautiful tool, right? Beautiful tool. So where you will be able to manage a multiple artifacts of the models, means multiple version of the model, you all will be able to manage, you will be able to, point towards it, you will be able to even test it over there. So I will try to use a ML flow over here, and with the ML flow, I will be able to maintain and manage the different version of the model. Now, 84 number question says that how do you implement A/B testing for Gen AI model? First of all, you have to understand that what is the meaning of A/B testing, right? What is the meaning of A/B testing? And A/B testing is nothing related to just generative AI. Entire world is using this testing approach. So basically it's a theory, right? It's a theory. So what is A/B testing? What A/B testing says, by the way? So A/B testing says that which option works better. Simple, right? So it's a theory, by the way, which option works better. For example, let's suppose I'm going to create a marketing posters, right? We all create a carousel, different carousel. Maybe we are going to create a different kind of a reel, right? All marketer does that in every company, by the way, right? Now, what they do, so randomly they are going to select or create a group of the people, right? Group of the people. Or maybe I'm going to put up my like an ad over social media, maybe on a Facebook, maybe on a Instagram, maybe on a YouTube. I'm going to put up those ads. So I will try to run multiple ads, and those ads will reach out to the different set of the people, right? Different set of the people. Even there is a provision inside ad suite. You will be able to find out for doing a A/B testing. Now, based on this users, right? So one ad will be shown to user group, let's suppose A, other ads will be shown to the user group B. So based on the interaction of the user, based on the CTR, click-through rate of the user, right? So we try to decide that, okay, which ad is working well for me. Technically, that is called as A/B testing, right? So A/B testing simply means that it will always help you out to find out that which one is going to work better, right? Which one is going to work better. So here, right? So here, let's suppose I have created a model, generative AI models I have created. Maybe I have done the fine tuning of the model. I'm hosting it. So what I will do, I'll just try to maybe when user will come, right? When user will come on my platform, layer one, as per the previous example. So when user is going to come on my platform, entry point. So what I will do, I'll try to redirect some of the user to model number A, and then some of the user to model number B, some of the user to model number C. And then I will try to track the matrices in terms of accuracy of the model, that what user has asked and what kind of answer user has given. Cost, what was the cost for that inferencing for user group A, then B, and then C, because I have three models, A, B, and C. And then maybe I'll try to even check the speed, that which model or which user group is getting highest speed, maybe group A, group B, or group C. And then I will be asking for a user rating. Yeah, I'll be asking for a user rating, that, okay, which model has received a rating. Then I will decide that, okay, I should go ahead with a model A deployment, model B deployment, and model C deployment. And that is technically called as A/B testing. Are you able to understand, guys? Yeah. So in a simple manner, right, in a simple manner, if I have to discuss about A/B testing. So first of all, what A/B testing says, so which option works better? That's a statement, right? Which option? works better. Simple, right? So like I said, I have a model A, I have a model basically B, and I have basically a model C, right? What I will do, I'll try to test the model A, B, and C based on accuracy, cost, speed, and then user rating, right? So I'll try to do this entire thing with model A, model B, and with model C. And then I'm going to decide that which model will go to the final production, whether it's going to be A, whether it's going to be B, or whether it's going to be C. And this is what every company does. So you must have seen that there are like many models, even ChatGPT has created, right? ChatGPT has created. But which one is going to be a primary model, or which one is going to serve finally to the end user, or which one will be available most of the time? So maybe they are deciding based on the A/B testing. But yeah, we do that, right? So this is something called as A/B testing, which will be done with respect to the multiple different users. Now, so moving to the next question, by the way. So what are the consideration for multi-tenant Gen AI system? Yeah, this question. So what are the consideration for multi-tenant Gen AI system? What is the meaning of multi-tenant, by the way? Yeah. So basically, multi-tenant is just an English word. If someone is asking you a question, so multi-tenant means I'm creating one solution, and which can go and which can serve a either multiple users or either multiple companies. Technically, I'm talking about generative AI or agentic AI system as a SaaS solution. Okay, PK is saying dev, Q, and prod. No, that is not a multi-tenant system. Multi-tenant system means technically a kind of a solution or kind of a product which can be used independently. Same product, right? Same product can be used independently by a different people or different companies. So eventually I'm talking about a SaaS product. This is how SaaS product works, right? This is how SaaS product works. So for example, if I'm talking about a N8N solution, right? Or maybe a Crew AI Cloud, which is in a beta, which I have already discussed in my live classes, right? Where we have seen. So obviously everything is available to me and everything is available to all of you as well. And even if some company, some team is going to use it, everything will be available even to them, right? They are going to use it in their own way, right? They are going to customize it in their own way. Simply means that they have created a data isolation. My data will be with me, your will be with you. I can't see yours, you can't see mine. Simple, right? Now, like a limitation. So basically, maybe like based on the user role, I will be having a different kind, or I can try to put up a different kind of a limitation that you can access only this, you can access only that one. I can do a customization. I can like go with a different kind of a purchasing plan, depends Team plan or maybe Pro Max, whatever they are going to launch, right? And I will be able to enjoy a different layer of the security. So that is something called as multi-tenant generative AI solution. Simple. It's technically I'm talking about SaaS. It's just a different name of this SaaS, because SaaS can be used by anyone, right? So anyone can come and you can use the SaaS. So this is just an English word. You can check even with a ChatGPT, you will be able to find out the same meaning. Now, so how do you implement a load balancing for a generative application? Any idea, guys? Load balancing? I think we talked about it a lot of times. Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, we have to understand that why load balancing is required. So let's suppose I'm like getting maybe 10 hits per second, and instantly I have started getting maybe 100 hits, right? 100 hits. So obviously I have to route the traffic maybe to a different server, or maybe I have to spin a new server, and then new traffic should go to the new server. Now to do that, obviously I have to balance the load, right? So basically load balancing, definition wise, load balancing you will be able to see everywhere, and load balancing says that sharing a traffic, right? Sharing a traffic across a multiple system or server, you can say. So whenever there will be a traffic, whenever user will come to my application, I will start sending some user to server number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on, and or maybe whichever is available, right? Whichever is available at that point of a time, or whichever bandwidth is available. So I'll try to send my like a traffic or user. Traffic means technically user, right? Technically user to that particular server, so that one server should not feel overloaded and it should not choke, right? It should not feel choked. So that is something called as basically load balancing. How do we achieve it, by the way? So again, let me open up Scribble link. Yeah. So here, whenever user will enter, so obviously user will go through a API gateway. I have already drawn that, right? The user will go through what? User will go through basically a API gateway. Now, so like I have mentioned, user will go through basically API gateway. Yeah, user will go through API gateway, which is nothing but entry point for any user. So any user will come, go through the API gateway. Now, so inside this one, what we try to do, so we try to attach basically a load balancer service, by the way. So basically it decides which model server gets the particular request or gets the particular traffic. So with respect to a API gateway, because that is the entry point, we try to use it. And then along with this, right, along with this, we try to even attach something like a sticky session, S-T-I-C-K-Y, sticky session. So let's suppose you are a user, you are coming to my system and you have started chatting with the system. So obviously server will try to give you a particular thread, and we should not so when you are chatting back to back with my system, so I should not change your server so that my server will be able to remember all of your chat. So this is something that we try to achieve it with the help of sticky session. So I will try to keep one user on one server, so which user has already started using, and when new user will come, I'll send to the different machine, I'll send to the different server, right? And simply if one server is busy, so basically it will go to the other server. Now to achieve these things, this entire load balancing things or this sticky session things, so what we try to use, so I can try to use in general ng inx, right, for a load balancing. I have already written that in a API section. Envoy I can try to use, right? I can try to use maybe AWS ALB, elastic load balancing or something like that, or I can try to use a Kubernetes HPA service, right? So there are multiple services which is already available to perform these operations, because this is something which is used across the industry, not just in one single application, but in all the application. Whatever application that you are going to build, whatever application that you are going to send on a production layer, everywhere you are going to use it. Yeah. So this is something called as load balancing, and it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. Now, so moving to the next one, what is the approach of handling a model drift? So first of all, we have to understand that what is the meaning of a model drift, right? Why it happens? So basically, model drift is nothing but if model is not able to give me a accurate answer, then my model is drifting. This is what it says, right? Drifting says. Means if model is giving me inaccurate answer, then my model is drifting. There can be a multiple reasons, right? So the very first reason which comes in my mind is old data set. So for example, if I have trained a model, maybe some model in 2024, right? And obviously model will be having an idea about the data till 2024. Now, if I'm asking about some event about in 2025, obviously my model will drift. My model will not be able to give a response, right? So my model will hallucinate, you can say. So that is something called as model drifting. And how do we handle it basically? And again, so if I'll talk about a drift, so there can be a multiple different kind of a drift you will be able to find out. Maybe a data drift, maybe a concept drift, maybe a retrieval drift. So how generally we try to handle, as question says that what will be your approach to handle a model drifting, means how you will be able to figure it out that your model is drifting or your model is not drifting, because you should keep on observing your models, and obviously you should take an action. So if model has started drifting beyond some certain thresholds, right? So here what we try to do, so obviously we try to monitor the performance of the model. Performance of the model means, so we try to track the accuracy, we try to track the user rating about the model, we try to track the error rate about the models. So basically this is the reason when I was talking about this entire architecture. So we had what? So we had basically observability layer, right? We talked about this layer, by the way. Yeah. What we are trying to do, so we are trying to log everything. We are trying to log everything, and obviously user rating and feedback will be available inside your databases or maybe inside your log, right? Errors and everything will be available over here. Now, so we try to keep a log of each and everything, maybe into a database or maybe into this log systems, and then we keep on observing all of these logs, and based on that I can try to decide that whether my model is drifting or not. And if it is drifting, then obviously I have to take the action. So if it is drifting because of the data, so obviously I have to train the model with respect to the latest data. Yeah, latest data. Now, so this is this. Now let's talk about a next question. So how do you implement a circuit breaker in Gen AI system? So first of all, we have to understand that what is the meaning of circuit breaker. Any idea, guys? Yeah, circuit breaker. How do you implement a circuit breaker in Gen AI system? Nope. Okay. Okay, Ram is asking what is a sticky session. A sticky session means, in a layman way, if I have to explain you. So let's suppose Ram, right? So you are coming to my system, right? So obviously, let's suppose you are going to hit Euron system. Now we are using basically not just one server, they are using multiple servers. Multiple server means computers, right? So whenever someone is coming on Euron system, so on AWS, so we have taken a multiple system, multiple servers, or you can say like we have basically taken the multiple or kind of a cluster we have taken where we have a multiple systems. Now when Ram will come, I will assign Ram or I will direct Ram towards one of my server. When let's suppose PK is coming, so again I will route PK to one of the another server. And when Anil will come, so I'll route Anil to one of the another server. Simple, right? So I'll keep on routing these people. Now let's suppose my system is feeling overloaded. Yeah, my system is feeling overloaded. Maybe like there are a lot of users which is coming in my system, and my system will start feeling overloaded. For example, yeah, my system will start feeling overloaded, but still I will not remove Ram, PK and Anil from my current servers because they have already started using it. They have already started chatting with my server. So let's suppose they have already started like consuming some of the services on my server. So if I'm going to remove them, there is a very high chance, if I have not configured it, then I will end up losing their sessions. I will end up losing their basically like a conversation or maybe their history. So I will not be able to respond to that user in a proper manner. So I'll just try to bind a particular user with a particular server unless and until user is not leaving the server or user is not closing the services. That is something called as stickiness. And in majority of the application, you will be able to find out this kind of a approach. In some of the application, what do we do? So basically, we never stick one user to one of the server, right? We never stick to it. So wherever we don't like have to track maybe a conversation or maybe a history over there, we can avoid stickiness. But whenever these things matter, whenever your history matters, whenever your like an entire lineage of the conversation matters, so over there we try to implement the stickiness. Yeah. Now, so moving to the next, what is the next question? Circuit break. Yeah. So how do you implement a circuit breaker in Gen AI system? So first of all, like I said, so we have to understand what is the meaning of a circuit breaker. Any idea, guys? Yeah. So Bishwal Samal is saying gracefully handling API failure, generating response will show as a API unavailable. And you say stop sending request to the broken part, monitor failure. Yeah, actually, so Samal has actually given the exact like answer. So gracefully handling API failure, generic response will be shown to the shown as an API unavailable. So yeah, that is something called a circuit breaker. So it's basically a fundamental concept, right? What happens? So let's suppose I'll give you one example, right? So let's suppose you are trying to call your friend, right? You are trying to call your friend. So you have called once, and maybe your friend was not able to pick up your call. Then you called twice. Then you called thrice, right? Then you called 4 times. Maybe you have called now 10 times. Yes, you have called basically 10 times to your friend basically. And your friend maybe intentionally he is not picking up a call or she is not picking up a call, or maybe because of something which has happened with your friend. So he or she is not available and they are not able to pick the call. What you will do in that situation? Yeah. What you will do in that situation? So maybe you will wait for some time. As a human being, what you will do? So you will wait for some time, right? It's not like you will keep on giving him like a psychopath. You will keep on giving him 100 calls or 1,000 calls unless and until he or she is not able to pick that call, or unless and until he or she is not able to give you a response. You will not do something like that, right? Maybe you will call a couple of times, but yeah, after a couple of times, obviously you will stop, right? You will stop for a while. And this is something which is called as circuit breaker, technically. So here, if I'm not able to get a response, right? If I'm not able to get a response, so from some of the APIs or from some of the services which I'm using inside my GenAI application, so what I will do, I'll not try endlessly over there. So I will just pause for some time, right? I will just pause for some time, or my app or whatever system which I'm designing. So my system will stop automatically, right? My system will stop automatically, and it will just like show some graceful message that I'm busy, please try me later, right? Something like that I will try to showcase. So that is technically called as circuit breaker. Yeah. Now next question says that what are the best practices for error handling in generative AI? Okay, so error handling. Error. So first of all, we have to understand like what are the ways by which we can get an error. So there are multiple ways by which we can get an error: timeout error, wrong format, bad input kind of a things. So all of this can generate the error for me, right? So how I will be able to handle that? So first of all, like everything starts with the input. So if system is giving me a wrong output, there is a possibility that I have given them a wrong input, technically a prompt, right? So wrong prompt. Maybe I have given a wrong example. Maybe I have given a wrong context. Maybe I have given a wrong analogy. So this could be a reason, right? This could be a reason why a system is giving me a wrong output. So I have to check basically like a input, and I have to reframe my input by the way. Maybe I have to like retry. Same thing with the LLMs again and again. So maybe first time it has given me a hallucinated answer, but maybe second time it will not give me that answer. So maybe I can try to like retry. In this way, again, I can handle the errors. So first, check the inputs, correct it. This is the one of the way by which you can handle the error in a generative AI. Second, retry, right? Third, maybe you can go for the fallback. So don't rely on one single models. Maybe try to opt for fallback models or some different models. That if this is not giving me a result, now let's try to go ahead with another model. So try to like design your solution with a multi-model system. Always advisable, by the way. Yeah, always advisable. You should not rely on one thing at a time. Yeah. Fourth, so a simple diplomatic things to all the user. Please try later. Yeah. So if system is giving an error to your user, so in that case, diplomatically, please try later. We are looking into the system, something like that. You can try to give. So this is how you can try to handle an error with respect to a generative AI solution. Yeah. Now, how do you implement monitoring? Try catch? No, I mean it's not about. See, try catch. We try to. So I think you got this question in a wrong way. See, try catch is basically something that you have to implement, but on code level. Your code should not crack. Your logic should not crack. But here, when I'm talking about a generative AI, right? So yeah, your code is correct. Your model inferencing is correct. But if user has given a wrong input, obviously user will get a wrong output, right? Yeah. So we are technically not talking about the code over here. So your try catch is not going to help out. Your try catch is going to help out in terms of a runtime error, which is technically a code error if you are going to get. Not this kind of error, right? Not a model hallucination kind of a error. It will be able to handle. Now we are talking about all of this question with respect to what? With respect to Gen AI, not with respect to a code. Hope you understand PK. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's not that error. It's a different error I'm talking about. It's a generative AI error. Now, like, okay, move to the next. Whatever question we are discussing, everything is with respect to generative AI, by the way. Yeah. So always think in a context of generative AI. How do you implement a monitoring for a generative AI application? Okay. So monitoring wise, Prometheus Grafana, I can try to integrate, which will keep on monitoring, and then I can try to like enable the notification services basically. And this is how I will be able to monitor. This is how we try to like monitor each and everything. So basically monitoring means keeping an eye on a system, as simple as that in a layman way, right? So we can keep track of our system health. So where we can keep checking CPU memory, GPU memory, CPU, GPU and API speeds, right? We keep on checking load on the system, concurrency on the system. Model uses means token input, token output, because with respect to generative AI solution, token input, token output matters a lot, right? You must be able to see the same thing. So if I'll show you my Euron system, Euron API, so obviously you will be able to observe each and everything, right? Token input, output, error status, everything, every log we are trying to show you. So somewhere we are storing it, right? Then only we are able to show you. So what is the token? And again, what is the prompt token, input token? What is the output token? Everything, right? Input, output token, if error, if there is a response, if there was a error, everything we all will be able to trace if we have this kind of a log, right? This kind of a log. So technically we are storing this log, then only we are able to show you, and you will be able to, you all are able to see it in your own dashboard, basically with your own role, right? For your own dashboard, for your own like a utilization, you all are able to see this one. So technically we are storing somewhere and we are showing you that data, right? And with every application, we does the exact same thing. Yeah. I don't think that this kind of a log any other system is showcasing. Yeah, they try to showcase maybe users like matrices graphs, but on this label, I don't think any system, I have never seen any kind of a system. But when we were designing this system, we thought that, okay, anyhow, we are storing the data. So let's expose that data to the user as well. So it's your data, look at it. So that you can keep track of your like users, where system has failed, where system has not failed, what kind of a, token that that was a input token, what was the output token, everything you will be able to basically keep track of it. So this is what we do in case of a monitoring, right? Again, so monitoring not just in terms of this one. So we try to do a system monitoring, we try to do a model users monitoring, or even a user side, right? That whether user are getting errors or not, what was the success rate, and when user are getting an error, so whose mistake it was, whether it was a user's mistake or it was my system's mistake, because user are getting error doesn't mean that I should go and I should solve it, right? User might have received an error because of his or her wrong input. So in that case, my system is not responsible, right? My system will take a responsibility, or I will check and I will try to debug it. I will try to replicate that one if there is a error in my system, right? So we are not supposed to solve all the error. This is what I'm trying to say. So we try to even create a segregation over there. So we try to track the errors. We try to do the classification or like, segregation of the error. We try to check the success rate of any queries or any hits that user is going to throw. And then obviously user satisfaction rate, we try to check. Yeah. So this is how we try to implement a monitoring, and everything basically starts from your logs. So better your log is, so better your entire monitoring solution is going to be. Yeah. So PK is asking how a system would find such error if person using it does not tell you. See, just for an example, right? I have shown you this this system. So let's suppose I'm going into the log, and obviously there is a status is equals to error. Let's suppose there is a flag which has been attached and is saying that error. Now, why this error has occurred? Yeah. Can I say that my system can do a classification? So whether it's a like a issue from the user side, or whether there was a issue from my side. Yeah. Whether there is a issue from user side or whether there is a issue from my side, my system can observe. I can clearly see over here that the metadata is like weird in this place. Whereas here, so my metadata or load which has been sent was like a role, user, comment, all these things is proper. So maybe this is a user error, right? Basically, this is a mistake from a user side, not from my system side. So even though the system is giving me an error, I should not be bothered about it basically, because it was a user's mistake. So technically in every system, if you have built a system, if you have designed a system, you know that what will be the input, what will be the output, and what kind of error I'm going to get. Based on that, you will write a piece of the code to classify, to like, segregate the errors. This is how we do it. Token users detail is very helpful for troubleshooting. Yeah, so you will be able to see your input token as well as output token. Both is visible, and then total token. So for this one, prompt token means input token is 14, as you can see, and then completion token is equals to 92, right? So total token is basically 106, and then this was the duration. So we are showing you even a latency in a millisecond, basically, that this is the time which has been taken for this entire process, which our system has taken, by the way. And then this is the total token which has been utilized, and likewise you can track each and everything. Even overall you will be able to track over here. So whenever this tracking monitoring comes into a picture, right, just remember this entire system of Eury API. You will be able to find out everywhere here, and we have even exposed it. Yeah, we have even exposed it. So total request, number of model types, total model used. So what model used? So from this model, what is the total token I have used? What was the total request? What was the average request? Active high uses, everything I can observe it basically with respect to a particular model as well, right? What is the total chat completion token I have used? Maybe like a 2,45,000 from one of my account. Yeah, and then like a error status. So what was error? How many error has occurred basically? So like I can see everything here. So whenever you think about this one, just like open up this and then look at this matrices once. You will be able to get a fair understanding. I'm not saying that a whole idea, but yeah, fair understanding so that you will be able to give an answer. Now, so implement the monitoring for GenAI application. Fine, done. What is the approach for the cost optimization in generative AI? See, cost optimization can be done by optimizing all of these layers, the layers which I have like ddefined. API gateway orchestration, like this one, custom LLM models creation or plus retrieval, which is a hybrid technically, on a caching layer, on a safety layer, observability, data everywhere. Majority of times, right? Majority of times. So basically we try to, achieve basically a cost optimization by doing a caching. That will be my first bet, right? That will be my first bet. Second bet. So first go ahead with the caching, every layer of a caching, maybe go with the KV caching, maybe go with the request response caching. Technically you try to use a Redis over there, right? So try to go ahead with the caching, first part. Second part, right? Second side by which you will be able to save the cost. Try to use a lightweighted best model. Maybe, so what I'm trying to say, try to use a quantized model if possible, right? So if quantized model is going to serve your purpose, use that. It's not like for every, even for the small use cases or even for the mid size or big use cases, you should go ahead and use a billions parameter model or trillions parameter model. No, it's not required, right? It's not required basically. So it's not like you should always go ahead with, I have seen people that they always, without even thinking about the task or the problem that they're trying to solve, they just go and blindly use like the heavy models. I mean, why? Why you're doing it? Yeah. Why you're doing it? When your use case is very small and when a small model can serve your purposes, that too with the 99.9% of accuracy or availability, right? And that too with the minimal cost, then why you are productionizing a heavy weighted model? Because if you are productionizing a heavy weighted model, you are burning a GPU. You are like taking a heavy high input token and low trying to give a output as again a big tokens, and everything is going to cost you, right? Because inferencing costs us a lot basically. And let's suppose if you're even trying to train your model, right? Fine tune, for example. No one trains or very few people trains, by the way. Let's suppose I'm doing a fine tuning, right? So try to, again, over there, we try to spend a lot of money. So whenever I'm trying to do a fine tuning, first of all, my model selection will be good. Second, data. Third, the hardware optimization, obviously, right? A fourth, what kind of a fine tuning I'm going to do. So either I'm going ahead with the full fine tuning, which is the costliest approach, or I'm going with the prefet basically. So parameter efficient fine tuning, or inside that LoRa and Cora basically. So, so you have to basically in a generative AI, if you have to optimize the cost, you can optimize a cost on a multiple level. In case of request response, yes, caching, implement it and you will be able to optimize it. But before that, your model should be lightweighted, right? Always your model should be lightweighted. And obviously it should fulfill the purpose, right? It should fulfill the purpose at the time. And so again, when user is trying to do a prompting, always try to limit it. Don't say that, okay, user can enter the prompt with 1,000 tokens and then, system will give a response with the 10,000 tokens. No, limit it, right? Limit it, 300 tokens, 400 tokens only. Yeah. So in this way, what you will do, so you will be able to reduce the recurring cost which will come on your like a budget basically. So there are other ways as well, but yeah, this is something that you should always think about on a very first day in terms of saving a running cost of the model. I'm not talking about like a cost about building a solution, but I'm talking about basically a cost when you have already built a solution and now solution is in production. So again, there will be two kind of a cost. Obviously, one will be a recurring cost after productionizing, and maintenance cost. There will be another kind of a cost, and then building something, right? So again, that will give you the cost. So recurring cost is going to kill you a lot, right? So because building something is just a one-time cost, right? Maintenance is, yes, it's a continuous cost, but yeah. So if you are going to build things in a better manner, then your maintenance will be very less in that way. Now, next question says that how do you implement a security in a generative AI system? Yeah. So obviously I can try to control the logins and the permission. I can try to encrypt a data. So when user is trying to send a data on my system, so obviously I should not send those data as a string, right? As it is, encrypt the data and then send it to the server and then decrypt it over there and then process the data. Yeah. And again, so when someone is trying to hit my system and asking for some sort of a secret things, so I should always like put a guardrails over there with my models. So that it should not reveal the secrets, or I should not even give an access to those data to my model. So in that way, obviously model will never be able to give those secrets to anyone. And again, I'll keep on checking your final output, right? Keep on checking your final output so that it should not like give some sort of a biased things, right? Which can hurt someone's like sentiment or feelings basically, right? So always you should, plus tone, obviously. So we try to like do a fine tuning even over there. Now, next question says that what are the consideration for a data privacy in generative AI? Yeah. So what is the consideration for the data privacy? Data privacy means basically protecting a user's personal information, right? Which nowadays I believe is a joke, by the way. I don't know how many people are doing it, but yeah, we all think about it, by the way. Yes, all these big organizations think about it, but they have a policy, they have a regulations countrywide. But how many people are doing it like in a proper manner? I think we all have a doubt, right? We all have a doubt. We keep on getting like this kind of a news. So in terms of data privacy, the first of all, very simple philosophy which is applicable is only store information which is actually required, right? Do not store all the information, because see, if someone is storing all the information, it simply means that they can misuse it whenever they want, maybe after 10 years, right? So the very first principle is you should not even store those information, but I believe everyone is doing it, right? And everyone is happily using those informations to train or maybe like to make their system better and better. But that should be the very first principle. So if you are designing some solution and if you have a good intention towards because data privacy is not a technical thing, it's an intentional thing. First of all, we should understand that part, right? So if we have an intention, we can implement it. If we don't have means we just have to write a couple of lines of a code over there. And if we don't have an intention as a company, then we'll not do it, right? So the very first principle of data privacy says that do not store if you don't want it, if you don't have an intention to use those data or compromise a privacy. So first, that is the first principle, right? And second principle says that whenever you are trying to transport a data, basically from client to server side or vice versa, so obviously try to encrypt those data. So you must have seen even WhatsApp has started claiming that we used to encrypt all of your information and everything, like with the highest level of encryption, right? With the highest level of encryption. How much they're doing it? None of us as a common person are aware about it, right? I'm assuming that all the messages and data is already available with WhatsApp, right? Always, and they can use it in the way they want. But yeah, intention wise, they have shown the intention that, okay, we are not going to use it. But yeah, that's a different story. So you should technically hide all if you are building the solution, means encrypt it, right? A multi-layer encryption system, you have to implement it. You have to give a option to a user if you are like really like worried about the data privacy. then you should allow user to see all the data that you are storing and delete all the data as and when user is required, or maybe take a permission from the user in case of if you are utilizing it, which nowadays many platforms are doing it, but again, no idea. Keep data in a right region, right? Because see, every country and every region is having a different law basically, right? And all this laws will not be applicable. So let's suppose my data is been stored in some European region, right? EU region. Even though if I have a problem, and even though if I know that no, there is a data compromise, there is a very high possibility that my data can be shared with anyone and can be accessed by anyone, right? But let's suppose I'm in India and I will not be able to claim because maybe EU's law, right? They allows it, right? And so even though if Indian law is not going to allow it, I can't do anything because that is not available. So this is the reason I think nowadays many people are worried about this things, right? That try to store our data in their country itself, right? Because if some apps are global, so obviously you should take that responsibility. And if you are building that kind of application, you should take the responsibility. Means you should always keep data in a local data center. Because once data is gone over there, it's gone, unless you're not deleting it. And means tomorrow anyone can use it by using a law of the land, basically. So this is something which comes under the data privacy. Like I said, it's less technical, more intentional. Data privacy is technically more intentional and less technical things. So it depends upon our intentions, by the way. Now, so next question says that 94 number, how do you implement a backup and recovery for a generative AI? Yeah. So backup and recovery basically by creating a different version, by replicating things. So there is something called as replicas, right? So basically we try to create a replica of our vector databases or any other databases. We try to store a model into different regions, basically AI models. If I'm trying to use, we try to basically create a data and whatever data that we are getting. So basically we try to replicate it in a multiple region. This is one of the way. So by creating this, obviously I will be able to create a backup and a recovery so that even in one region, if things are going down, not an issue, system will serve from the other region. Obviously little bit of latency will be increased or decreased, but system will be able to serve at the end of the day. How often generally we should take a backup or recovery? How often we should do it? It depends. Again, there is no thumb rule for this one. So some system try to take a backup recovery maybe once in a 24 hour, once in a week, once in a month, something like that, right? For example, you must have seen your WhatsApp. So if you are going to switch on your backup, so there is an option for 24 hours. So in every 24 hour, what it will do, it will try to take your entire chat of the day and then it will send it to the WhatsApp server, right? It will not it will keep it in local, but yeah, and whenever you will configure your WhatsApp in some new mobile, obviously it will be able to fetch all those data from the recovery checkpoint itself. So this is something that we can do on a daily basis, right? For example, if I'm talking about our company, Euron, so maybe we can take a backup once in a month, all the data, whatever lecture that you have completed, whatever content that we have uploaded, whoever has signed up on our, because tomorrow if the system will be gone, maybe we'll be able to recover everything from that one. So this is how we can try to not do it. And you should keep on testing those recovery parts as well. It's not like you have configured once and then you will wait for the failure. Now, 95 number question says that what is the approach for the disaster recovery in generative AI? So disaster recovery, disaster means everything has gone. That is something called as disaster recovery. So obviously the very first thing is multi-region setup, right? So my data centers or my applications are available, my things are available in India region, let's suppose EU region, US region, and maybe in other regions as well. So multi-region setup is the best approach and we all does that, right? We all try to do a multi-region setup. So that, in this way we try, there are multiple things that I will be able to achieve by doing a multi-region setup. One, a traffic distribution. So let's suppose if traffic is coming from US, okay, so local server is US will be able to serve that traffic. If it is coming from EU, okay, fine, EU server will be able to serve it. If it is coming from India, Indian server will be able to basically host that or entertain that particular traffic. So in this way, even latency for a user will be less, and I will be able to get some happy user, some more happy user, right? Second one, so if we are trying to do a multi-region setup and we are replicating the data from one region to another region. So if the entire data center of one region will go down, not an issue. Other region will be, if all the region are in sync, basically, right? All the region are in sync. This is where something called as CAP theorem comes into a picture: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. If you are interested, maybe you can go and explore that part. All right. But yeah, this is how we try to do it. And all the cloud provider, all the big one, especially Azure, AWS, and GCP, they are providing you. So just with a couple of clicks, it's not very tough, by the way. Just a couple of clicks and you will be able to do this one. So basically you will be able to achieve a disaster recovery, and even point number 94, you will be able to achieve it. So this is all about an answer from my side, guys, with respect to this question. So hope it's clear, right, everyone? All 15 question, 81 number till 95. How you manage the cost optimization in a Euron tokens? Can you explain briefly so that we will explain to the interviewer? See, in Euron, you will be able to see that whenever we have given you the sample code, so we have even put the by default, see, code example. Now here, so maximum token is equal to 1000. This is something that we have given you because not 10,000, not 20,000 kind of a things, so that intentionally, if you are using our APIs, you will not be able to use it beyond this. And above everything, right? Above everything, we have limited the users over here. 1 lakh token per day. If we would have given you 365 lakh, people have started exploiting it, right? I know that people will start exploiting this entire 365 lakh, although you have a 365 lakh token limit, but some people will run the system and they will run it in an infinite loop and burn the 365 lakh token. But here we have given you the limitation, right? That, okay, 1 lakh and then second day, stop. And that cost I will get in a year of time, not in one single day of time. So this is one of the way. If I'll talk about a Eury chat solution, so in case of a Eury chat, so we have restricted you just with respect to a 50 messages per day, because we have observed that 25 somewhere. So this was our observation, right? So this was our observation that is average user are going to chat with any AI system, or especially our AI system, right? And their average chat was on a daily basis 25 to 30, around 25, 30, right? So we have just given you 50. That okay, I think 50 is more than enough. Maybe some of you will surpass on some odd day, not daily. So I don't think that any one of you will be able to surpass this limit on a daily basis, whether it's a 1 lakh token limit or whether it's a 50 messages token limit on a daily basis. Yeah, on some fine day, there is a possibility, and not for again everyone, right? So this is how we are even trying to control the cost, right? The cost. Then a couple of models, a lightweighted models, serve it on our own GPUs basically. So in this way, again, we'll be able to optimize it. As far as this GPT-5 is concerned, so we can't do anything based on the users we have to pay, right? And which is I think price part is available to all of us. Anyone can go and check what is the API cost for GPT, and it's a proprietary model, so we can't host it, by the way. We can't do anything. We just limit the users. So this is how we are managing it. But yeah, it is cost. Anyone, guys, anyone who is providing you a AI solution in a cheaper manner, right? Same solution, for example, GPT-5 means GPT-5 you are able to get, not some XYG or bad models. Then these solutions are not, I would say like a cheap. These solutions are actually expensive, right? Because even you can do the calculation that you can go to a GPT and you can try to check their API cost, right? I think it's publicly available to all of us. And then you will be able to understand the value that all of us are getting. So it's not cheap, by the way. Still we are able to manage, and there are a certain things we can't manage beyond a limit, right? So that's the whole story. Okay, so fine everyone, I believe I have clarified this 15 question. Now tomorrow I'll be talking about further question 96. Advanced implementation. This is again same how do you implement a multi-agent system with generative AI. I'll be talking about all those things one by one, right? So this is it from my side for today. I believe I'm able to clarify everything and hope all of you are able to understand. In a dashboard, I'm going to upload this document, and this is already available, right? This question set is already available. And believe me, right? Believe me, and I believe some of you must have seen that if you are aware about this question, right? You must have started getting some sort of feeling that if you are aware about these questions and its answer, no one on any level in the entire market will cross this line, will ask any question beyond this limit in generative AI interview. That I can assure. Because there is nothing which exists beyond this one, right? So, I'm especially inviting you Kolkata during a Durga Puja. Okay. Actually, I used to go to my hometown sometime via Kolkata and sometime via Ranchi. So yeah, so I'm like since my childhood I'm aware about Kolkata. So it's just 3 hours from Jamshedpur. So we used to take a morning train, and then we used to like go to Howrah station, and then from there Dum airport, and then from there like Chennai and Hyderabad. When I was staying in Chennai and Hyderabad. Dev Kumar, yeah. Even in Jamshedpur, so people used to celebrate Durga Puja on a very grand level. Kolkata, obviously, it's like everyone knows, entire world knows about Kolkata, and especially like Durga Puja in Kolkata. Yeah, I have seen those things since childhood, since my like when I was very small. Okay. So yeah, hope all of you are able to understand. But believe me, if you are able to practice these questions, and see, practice means what? Try to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. Right? That is something called as practice. Try to rehearse this question not once, not twice, but maybe 10 times. Try to give your own answer. Right? Try to reframe your own answer. Try to add a couple of things in this the answer that you are trying to give, and then it's done. Right? In generative AI, believe me, no one can cross this 200 questions if you are able to prepare about this entire things. Plus the DPR which I have given you, that will help you out in terms of explaining the entire project, right? Because obviously people are going to start the entire like an interview with respect to a project, and DPR is something which is going to help you out. And your entry point is going to be your resume. So prepare your resume well, right? The way I have asked you. Send it to me for a review. You can even use a resume AI before sending it to me, so that it will be able to refine it. It will be able to make it crisp, a 2-pager max to max, and then start applying for the job. In a market, I believe now market is like better than before, especially if I'll talk about the Indian market, because now I'm able to see a lot of like my students are getting job easily, I would say, right? They're getting more and more of like opportunity nowadays. Plus, even I'm getting a lot of referrals. I think I keep on posting these referrals in my groups, in some or other groups, and even other people are posting, right? So opportunities are there. We are getting these opportunities on a regular basis. It's just like how much you are able to utilize it, right? So try to use it as much as you can, guys, because referrals are like again, we all are able to get the referrals. I think you are able to see it in a group. Yeah. So fine. This is all about this more of soaring, and the US market has no money to host H1B. Forget about US market. Anyhow, government has already clarified that it is not going to affect the existing visa holder, right? It is going to affect someone who is going to take a visa after, I think, 21st of September, right? Or 22nd of September. I'm not sure about the date, but yeah, today, tomorrow, right? This was a date. So forget about that. And yeah, so it's more of the global politics. So just forget about these politics things. Focus on your upskilling. Focus on your like a resume, your project. Focus on building something. Some real application, a real application, by the way, right? Otherwise, you will be like stuck in a loop of this social media and this infinite PR stunts and the news, right? So never focus on these things. I never focus on these things. I never even react on those things, right? Because if you will observe in a whole 2025, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and now we are in the 9th month, right? Only 3 months is left after this month from this year. And every month we have received some news, which entire country was talking about, right? Some news entire country was talking about. We were like completely occupied. We were completely engaged ourselves on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, just in a endless discussion. A lot of discussion we don't even remember now, right? So this is how this entire world works nowadays. 10 years back, it was very different when we were not having an access of this internet. But now this access is giving us a lot of pain. It's killing a lot of time. It is giving us a lot of frustration and unnecessary thought above all. You just need one job, right? Or maybe you have to build only one product. So you don't have to worry about the entire world. Doesn't matter what is happening in the entire world, right? For you, you just need only one job, right? Everyone? Do you need 5, 6, 10 jobs? No, right? Even if you are going to build a company, so you will be building only one company, right? In that to one domain. Yeah. Focus on that one. A lot has happened in the world. Lot is happening in the world and lot will happen in the world. Don't get stuck. Don't even talk about it. I think that's a best solution, right? That's a best solution. If Reform Party win the election, doing the same thing here in UK, who cares? Yeah. So right. So don't yeah, it's good to know about the news, but I think your career, your life should not depend upon that. Simple. So fine, guys. With that, thank you so much. Take care. See you again tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. IST. So I am going to discuss questions starting from 95, 96. Okay, till 95 I discussed. So from tomorrow, I'll try to start from 96. So in total, 105 more questions we have to discuss. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Have a great night. And in people from other regions, so great morning to all of you. With that, thank you so much, everyone. Take care.